May bank holiday and we're here at Caldicot Castle for Wartime Wheels, hosted by the Military Vehicles Trust. I'm going to introduce you to Roy and his 1941 Chevrolet Suburban. So Roy, can you tell me a bit about your car?
I've been involved in military vehicles as a hobby, if you like, since the beginning of the 70s. I started with a Jeep, which I had for 22 years, and then I had two armoured vehicles, one after the other. But as I got older, having to climb up and get down inside and then get back out again of the armoured vehicles, this cropped up because you're sitting indoors and you've got a windscreen in front of you and all the rest of it. And in 1989, I saw an advert for a chap up in Norfolk and realised what it was. Went up there and fell in love with it and dragged it back. It was a total wreck. He'd imported it with his idea was to have it restored to use as a family vehicle. But when he realised just how bad it was and what it was going to cost, that's why he advertised it.
Oh, I gave up.
I dragged it back, as I say, back down where I lived at Guildford at the time, and that same weekend I was pulling it apart, and over the next 10 months I totally stripped it right down to the last nut and bolt, chassis off, the full Monty. Kent managed down across to Cornwall or up to the Midlands to events where I've been invited to. Was I meeting up with old friends, obviously, but obviously I have to sit about a lot now. It's ideal, so I've got the stuff there as well. Prior to the stroke, we used to go across to France, Holland, Belgium to events and stuff. And there's a plaque on the front over the other side there that we went to the Czech Republic for their 50th liberation. 2,000-mile round trip. Never missed a beat. And they were so pleased to see us over there. We're the only vehicle from England.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, that'll make you smile if you like. They were, Pilsen and then Prague were liberated by Patton's forces at 8 o'clock in the morning. So every year on the appropriate day, they will have a parade through Pilsen at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Well, the 50th fell on a Saturday, which obviously helped a bit, if you like. And we had to be inside roads at 6 o'clock in the morning, ready to go and do the parade at 8 o'clock. And the Mayor of Pilsen was going to lead the parade in a Jeep. And when we pulled round in that, he sent the Jeep away and we ended up leading the convoy with that.
Fantastic.
With him in there, and I'll tell you what, he was a big lad. And unfortunately, I didn't speak Czech and he didn't speak English, so it was a bit of hand signals and stuff. But we had a lovely time, really did. Some of the, a lot of the ladies, as well as blokes, they'd come along and they'd be, because it was genuine kit.
Yeah. And
they never come across it, obviously, while they were locked down with the Russians and stuff like that, and whatever, communism. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Had a lovely time. But I mean, as I say, since the turn, there's no way I'm going to go across the channel now because I've had another turn over there. It's trying to get back.
Just getting back, you won't get back?
No.
Well, it is a lovely vehicle.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's all right, you're very welcome. I hope it's helped.
Thank you.
I'm gonna get them Germans, I'm gonna get them! That's 3 times this week, them Germans! Go away! Oh, that was a big one! Oh, they're going. Wait till you're clear. Yeah, I can hear it. It's okay, Sissy. It's okay. Go!
across this SAS Jeep. So I'm going to introduce you to Colin, who can explain all about it. So Colin, tell me something about the Jeep.
Well, this is a replica of a 1942 SAS Jeep, which they would have used on the raids on the German aerodromes during the Second World War.
Yeah.
As you can see, it was heavily armed. It's got 5 Vickers K machine guns. It's got kitted out for self-survival, so it's got lots of jerry cans on there, 16 jerry cans with water and fuel. They carry the fuel, food, water, ammunition on every raid they went, so they would disappear from the front lines for weeks at a time, come back very smelly, hairy and disheveled basically. They would have blisters on the skin, sunburnt. This is a harsh environment. Yeah, so this is everything you see on the Jeep is 1942 spec, so it's as original as I possibly can get. It's not an original SAS Jeep because most of them would have been destroyed either in Northern Europe or definitely in North Africa. But it's the best as we can get, so we're very pleased with it.
It is a beautiful bit of kit. Can you explain something about the grille? Yeah. Why they've been removed?
Yes, the standard Jeep has 7 slats. Because they were in the desert and it's very warm, they thought it'd be best to cut them out to let more air into the radiator to keep it cool. And what you're leaning against at the moment is a condenser, so if the water ever boiled, the steam would go into the condenser, turn back to water so they could reuse it, because water was the most important most important fluid they could have. So the jerry cans you can see are marked with white crosses on them to identify them at night time. So picking a jerry can up thinking it's water and it could be petrol. So they put a white stripe on them or filled it with white just to indicate it was water.
So I suppose they left these 2 in for stability.
Yes, I'm going to say if you cut those 2 out, the front of the Jeep would collapse. So it's there for stability, but the most important thing is so the air can get in and cool the radiator down.
Can you explain what these are?
Yeah, these are a representation of a Lewis bomb. Jock Lewis with David Stirling formed the SAS, but the reason the SAS were there was to destroy aircraft. So Jock Lewis spent many weeks experimenting with all the different explosives and chemicals, phosphorus, iron filings, petrol, gelignite, to get a bomb which was light enough for the soldiers to carry, but big enough to destroy an airplane. So each soldier would have a pack of maybe 20 of these, so you got 20 pounds of explosives, but you could destroy 20 aircraft. So the colour of the material is green, and if you like to smell that,
it's almondy.
Yeah, so the actual mixture would come to an almondy colour. This is a pencil fuse which detonates it, so explosive as it is there, you can throw that around and nothing would happen. Put a detonator in it, which is a pencil detonator. It was crimped with a pair of pliers. Inside there's a glass tube with acid in. And inside the tube there's a thin cable, a wire, and different thicknesses will give you longer timing. So it becomes like a timing pencil. So they pushed that into the bomb, crimped it, and off they went to the next airplane. Then 10-20 minutes later the airplanes would explode.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and then by that time they would have gone into the darkness of the desert and disappeared from sight. So when the Jeep came in 1942, saved them walking round, they used the Jeep. So that's why it's so heavily armed. So they did exactly the same. Come out of the darkness at night, down the centre of the runway, blew the airplanes to pieces with all the guns, disappeared at the other end into the darkness and gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Okay, pleasure.
Can you just explain a little bit about your living history group?
Yep, so we're the 304 Panzergrenadiers, a living history display. And what we do is we go around the country attending shows and putting on a living history show. So all the equipment you see, all of the tents, the Zeltbahn are all period correct. They're all lived in, they're all used. It would have been used at the time. Same for the uniforms, accurate as we possibly can. Same level down to the food as well. So it's period correct food. And then the same with like what we do with drill, so rifle drill and training and things like that, and marching, trying to be as accurate as possible, just to put on an educational show for the public.
So do you live the entire weekend as your regiment?
As much as we can, yeah. So we've got names, we've got you know, backgrounds, places of birth, you know, old professions and things like that. We've got what's called a soul book, which is basically your career in the army from when you were trained all the way through, like including anything to do with any medical issues, you know, things like that as well. We carry on as it's called pocket litter.
Okay.
So there'll be personal effects like photographs or letters, you know, that we can show to the public and say, look, we've had a letter backwards and forwards with photographs and things like that. It's encouraged to do that. And then we talk about, say, like the weapons or just like the uniforms and how they changed over the years.
Yeah.
So what we do is like a late war period, so just before the invasion of Normandy, D-Day, 1944. So this is the sort of standard equipment and uniform that you would see.
I've got to ask one question, and it's the same question that probably everybody asks you. Is the suit itchy?
It's itchy to begin with, but after a while, after running around in it and sleeping in it, it does sort of start to wear down. It's not as itchy as it used to be. You'll notice that some of the uniforms are different colours or different shades, so over time it just gets bleached, or depending on where they were made, they're just slightly different shades. But other than that,
Well, thank you very much. Can you just explain briefly, like, what are you eating?
So at the moment, I've got buckwheat and potatoes, bits of mushroom, and some stock gravy as well. It's all mixed together. That's pretty much it. And then
staple diet.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just for energy. It's good.
Bits and pieces.
Bits and pieces, basically. It wasn't like the British way of doing things. You wouldn't get like a ration pack or a ration box. Got what you were given. It's what they had on at the time. You know, they would trade for it, or like they would buy ingredients and make things up. So like in the unit in France, you might have the stuff from that area of Normandy, and then depending on where you were, that's what you would get given. It wasn't like standard boxes and things.
Yeah.
You would get that if you got sent it in the post. So sometimes you'd have parcels from home, and they would include like some of the sweeter things.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Okay.